Hey everybody. I wanted to do a quick video on some of the policies that I'm going to be updating as I've kind of gotten into the swing of the semester and kind of trying to accommodate all of our various situations as we kind of deal with coronavirus and just kind of trying to make things a bit more flexible for all of us, especially as it applies to assignments and late work and how we're going to kind of get through the remainder of the semester. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on how I'm working with those policies. You'll see these reflected in an updated syllabus, and I just wanted to walk through some of those things together in this video. So let's talk about late work and kind of this combined attendance participation grade. So let's start with late work. So I'm going to make an update to the policy that I had initially for more flexibility so that we can all breathe a little easier, basically. So due dates for assignments and feedback for those assignments. This is kind of the same thing here. You'll have 5 to 6 days to complete every assignment or more for some of our longer form assignments that we'll get into later in the semester. Assignments are due the day and time that they're listed in Canvas. Pretty simple. You'll see that most of those due dates are 11:59 p.m., 5 or 6 days after they're assigned. I'm going to try to grade assignments as soon as possible, often before they're due if you happen to turn them in early or you're working a bit ahead, which hopefully you'll have the chance to do as I add some modules in advance. But basically I'm going to try to grade things as quickly as possible and get you that feedback as quickly as possible. In relationship to that, let's talk about late work and kind of how I'm going to be dealing with late work after the due date has passed. So basically, though I'm trying to grade things, as they come in and get you feedback as quickly as possible, once the due date passes, if you have not turned that assignment in, I am going to be marking those assignments with what I'm calling a placeholder 0. So you're going to get a 0 for that assignment, but that's temporary. And basically, this is just for both you and I to remember that you still need to finish this assignment. So that's why I call it a placeholder 0. It helps us kind of move on to new content and look into the next week, while also kind of seeing how it's going to reflect in your grade if you were to not do that assignment. But this is the big point. You can still turn that assignment in at any point during the first 15 weeks of the semester for full credit, potentially for full credit. I'm doing this as a way of allowing us to breathe a little easier. And if you have a tough week, if you are, affected by coronavirus in a number of different scenarios, which we, all of us may be in some capacity at some point during this semester. So you're going to get a placeholder 0, and then you can still turn that in anytime within the first 15 weeks of the semester. And I'm saying that finals week is off limits for late work so that I can possibly get some sleep so that I don't have a huge bum rush of assignments there at the tail end. So hopefully that makes sense, right? That you can work on these things throughout the semester. A lot of these things are going to build on each other as we start doing some media design assignments and other things related to that. But I want to give you the utmost flexibility. So if you don't hit something by the due date, you may see a 0 go in that grade book, but just know that that's a placeholder, and we can work together to change that. Moving forward a little bit from there, so I'm still kind of keeping with this kind of joint participation and attendance grade that you'll see kind of reflected in the syllabus. I'm going to be giving you a weekly grade on this, and this is kind of how that will work. So I'll talk about that attendance grade in another section, but in terms of getting a placeholder 0 may affect your attendance and participation grade, and I'll talk about that just a second. But that's going to be the only part of the grade, of your overall grade, that's affected is that participation attendance grade. You'll still have the full access to the full points available for any assignment, so long as you get it turned in before finals week. Related to that, if you're unsatisfied with a grade that you get in my class, I want you to be able to revise your work and get a better grade for that. That doesn't bother me at all. Again, I will allow you to do that for the first 15 weeks of the course. So all the way up till finals week, if you get a bad grade and you want to raise that grade, you have that ability within the first 15 weeks of the course to revise anything that you turn into me. So how does that affect kind of this combo participation attendance grade? Well, I'm still calculating this grade as a weekly grade in the course. Given that we may change, the course and or kind of the modality, being, on campus or online, whether synchronously or asynchronously, how I'm going to calculate this is I'm going to give you the full credit for those points, 100% of those participation attendance points to start. That's going to, you'll just see that as like one Canvas assignment. And from there, I'm going to provide feedback weekly into that assignment based on kind of your contributions, and I will subtract points from that 100% of the total as necessary. And largely speaking, this is going to be at my discretion based on the following things. So, factors affecting participation and attendance grade. Turning assignments in on time. This is big, right? So, weekly kind of contributing those assignments when they're supposed to be due. Participating in discussion, whether that means responding or replying to classmates' posts as that's kind of identified in those different discussion assignments. Letting me know ahead of time if you're going to be late with an assignment, or if you're having issues, challenges with any particular assignment. Letting me know in advance that you're struggling so that I can help you with those things. We can get into a one-on-one meeting or something of the sort. Being on time and or not missing meetings, and that kind of is applied globally, whether that's one-on-one with me in the classroom, synchronously or asynchronously, being on time and being present, and kind of generally just being present, for the week. Let's make these discussions that we have in our Canvas sections pretty robust. I'd really like to get through a lot of content, and especially as we get into designing things and testing things, I'd really like for that to be a place that we can interact in a really meaningful way. So these are the things that are going to affect your weekly participation and attendance grade. I will say that those weekly point values are going to be pretty variable depending on basically how much interaction the class requires in that given week. So the class's need for interaction that week, the necessity of having kind of like expedient delivery of content, meaning things like discussion that are going to kind of require a response pretty quickly, and other class interactions where, it's going to be really, really helpful for the sake of the class if we're moving forward with those things pretty quickly. Survey data, I'm going to do a lot of surveys and polls based on, things that we talk about in class, and responding to those surveys, pretty efficiently and effectively. Like I said, discussion and replying to classmates, and pretty much just other elements that, are going to require your contribution to the class. That's what's going to affect this grade overall. And that's all I have. I just wanted to kind of outline that. You'll see this in the syllabus. I want to make sure that everybody kind of understands this, and I hope sincerely that this gives all of us a little more flexibility. And, if you get to the end of a week and you just don't know how to complete an assignment, or if you're just overwhelmed with a number of different things, you have the ability to kind of say, okay, I've got a placeholder 0 for those assignments. Maybe I lose a little participation for not getting those things in on time, but that you still have the ability for the rest of the semester to just get that work in and revise it as necessary. I want these policies to support you and your learning. I want you to be able to develop the things that you want to make out of this class and kind of the tent poles of the class. And from there, I hope that allows us all to breathe a little easier as we kind of go through this semester. So please let me know if you have any questions about the kind of updated policy. I hope that it helps us a little bit more to kind of, like I said, breathe easier and just kind of get through what we need to get through. Hit me up for any questions. Thanks so much for watching.